Have you ever felt like life is moving so fast that you're just trying to keep up? Maybe you've been searching for clarity, purpose, or even just a moment to breathe and reflect. In a world full of distractions, it's easy to lose sight of what truly matters. But here's the good news. Your journey doesn't have to feel like this. Today, we're diving into something powerful, the art of transforming your life by understanding the incredible connection between your mind and your spirit. Whether you're feeling stuck, overwhelmed, or just curious about how to live with greater intention, this video is for you. Together, we'll explore how small changes in your mindset can lead to massive shifts in your reality. You'll learn actionable strategies, uncover inspiring truths, and discover how to break free from limiting beliefs that have been holding you back. By the end of this video, you'll feel equipped to take control of your life in ways you never thought possible. So, if you're ready to step into a new chapter, one filled with purpose, strength, and clarity, then let's get started. Your journey to transformation begins right now. Have you ever stopped to consider how your thoughts shape your reality? Every decision, emotion, and action you take is influenced by the way you think. But what if I told you that the way you think isn't set in stone? That you have the power to rewire your mind and change your entire experience of life? It sounds incredible, doesn't it? But it's not just possible. It's something you can start doing today. Let's begin with something fundamental. Understanding the role of your mindset. Your mindset is the lens through which you view the world. It influences everything from how you handle challenges to how you approach opportunities. There are two main types of mindsets, fixed and growth. A fixed mindset believes that abilities, intelligence, and talents are static. They don't change much over time. On the other hand, a growth mindset believes that these traits can be developed through effort, learning, and persistence. Now, take a moment to reflect. Which mindset do you think dominates your life? When you face a challenge, do you immediately think, "I'm not good at this," or "I'll never figure it out"? Or do you tell yourself, "This is hard, but I can learn," or "I'll get better with practice"? Recognizing your mindset is the first step toward transformation. Science backs this up. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself, shows us that our brains are not static. They are constantly changing, adapting to new information, and forming new neural pathways. This means you are never truly stuck in your current way of thinking or being. You have the capacity to grow, learn, and adapt at any age. Let's make this practical. Think about a challenge you faced recently. Maybe it was a difficult conversation, a setback at work, or even trying to build a new habit like exercising regularly. Now, think about how you approached it. Did you avoid it, feel overwhelmed, or convince yourself it wasn't worth trying? Or did you face it head-on, believing you could find a solution? Here's an example. Meet David. He's someone who always believed he wasn't good with money. His fixed mindset led him to avoid learning about finances, which only made his situation worse. He'd tell himself, "I'll never understand investing," or "I'm just bad at saving." But one day, he decided to challenge that belief. He started reading simple financial guides, set small goals, and asked for advice. Over time, his mindset shifted. He realized that managing money wasn't about being naturally talented, it was about learning and taking consistent action. David's story highlights something important. Change doesn't happen all at once. It's the result of small, intentional steps. The same applies to any area of your life. Whether it's building confidence, improving relationships, or learning a new skill, the key is to start where you are and commit to growth. But here's where it gets interesting. Your brain doesn't just adapt to what you do, it adapts to what you think. Every thought you have creates a pathway in your brain. Positive, empowering thoughts strengthen pathways that encourage growth and resilience. Negative, self-defeating thoughts do the opposite, reinforcing feelings of fear and inadequacy. This is why self-awareness is so powerful. By paying attention to your thoughts, you can start to identify patterns that might be holding you back. For example, do you often tell yourself, "I can't do this, I'm not smart enough," or "I don't have the time"? These are limiting beliefs, and they can be replaced with affirmations like, "I am capable of learning this, I'll figure it out one step at a time," or "I can make time for what matters." Let's pause here for a quick exercise. Take a deep breath, And think about one limiting belief you've been holding on to. Write it down if you can. Now, reframe it into something empowering. Instead of, I'm not good at public speaking, try, I can improve my speaking skills with practice. Instead of, I'll never be successful, try, I am taking steps every day to achieve my goals. This practice might feel awkward at first, but over time it becomes second nature. Remember, you're rewiring your brain. Every time you replace a negative thought with a positive one, you're building new neural pathways that support growth and confidence. Another critical aspect of transformation is the power of habits. Think of your daily habits as the building blocks of your future. Small actions repeated consistently create significant change over time. For instance, if you spend just 10 minutes a day learning something new, you'll have accumulated over 60 hours of learning in a year. Imagine the possibilities. Habits are deeply connected to the way your brain works. When you repeat an action, your brain creates a shortcut neural pathway that makes it easier to do that action again. This is why habits, whether good or bad, feel automatic over time. But here's the good news. You can change your habits by starting small and staying consistent. Let's take an example. Sarah wanted to start meditating but felt overwhelmed by the idea of sitting still for 20 minutes. Instead of giving up, she decided to start with just 1 minute a day. Over time, that 1 minute turned into 5, then 10, and eventually a consistent meditation practice. The key wasn't perfection, it was consistency. This brings us to an essential point: progress over perfection. Too often, we give up because we feel we're not doing something perfectly. But perfection is an illusion. What truly matters is showing up, even when it's messy or imperfect. Remember, transformation is a journey, not a destination. As we wrap up this first part, I want to leave you with a thought. The life you dream of isn't out of reach. It's not something reserved for special people or those who have it all figured out. It's available to you right now through the choices you make and the beliefs you hold. In the next part, we'll explore how to break free from fear, take bold actions, and step into your full potential. Because your story is just getting started. Stay with me. There's so much more to uncover. Fear. It's the silent force that holds so many of us back, whispering doubts into our minds and convincing us to stay in our comfort zones. But what if I told you that fear isn't your enemy? In fact, it can be one of your greatest teachers if you're willing to confront it. Let's start with understanding what fear really is. At its core, fear is a survival mechanism. It's your brain's way of protecting you from perceived danger. Thousands of years ago, this was essential for survival. Fear kept our ancestors alert to threats like predators or natural disasters. But in today's world, fear often shows up in ways that aren't helpful. It manifests as self-doubt, hesitation, or the fear of failure. Think about this for a moment. How often has fear stopped you from pursuing something you truly wanted? Maybe it was starting a new business, speaking up in a meeting, or even telling someone how you feel. Fear can be paralyzing, but here's the truth. The things you fear are often the things you need to face to grow. Take Lisa, for example. Lisa always dreamed of starting her own photography business, but fear held her back. She was afraid of what people might think, afraid of failing, and afraid of stepping into the unknown. For years, she stayed in a job that drained her, telling herself it was safe. But one day, she decided enough was enough. She started small, taking photos for friends and family, building her portfolio, and learning about the business side of photography. Step by step, her confidence grew. Today, Lisa runs a thriving business and often wonders why she let fear hold her back for so long. Lisa's story shows us that fear loses its power when we take action. The key isn't to eliminate fear, it's to move forward despite it. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's choosing to act in the face of it. But how do you actually do that? Let's break it down. First, identify your fears. Sometimes, fear feels like a vague, looming cloud. To overcome it, you need to get specific. Ask yourself, what exactly am I afraid of? Write it down. Maybe it's the fear of failure, rejection, or making a mistake. Whatever it is, putting it into words takes away some of its power. Next, Challenge your fears. Our fears are often based on assumptions or worst-case scenarios that aren't rooted in reality. For example, if you're afraid of failing at something new, ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen? Then, follow that question with another. What's the best that could happen? This simple exercise shifts your perspective and reminds you that fear is often exaggerated. Now, take action. This is the most important step. Fear thrives in inaction. The longer you wait, the stronger it becomes. But when you take even the smallest step toward what scares you, fear begins to shrink. Start small. If public speaking terrifies you, practice in front of a mirror or with a close friend. If you're afraid of starting a new project, break it down into tiny, manageable tasks. One powerful tool for overcoming fear is visualization. Close your eyes and imagine yourself successfully doing the thing you're afraid of. Picture every detail, how it feels, what it looks like, and the positive outcome. Visualization primes your brain for success, making the task feel less intimidating when you face it in real life. Let's talk about failure for a moment. Failure is one of the biggest fears people have. But what if we reframed it? Instead of seeing failure as something to avoid, see it as part of the process. Every successful person you admire has failed, often more times than you can imagine. Failure isn't the opposite of success, it's a stepping stone to it. Each failure teaches you something valuable and brings you closer to your goals. Consider Thomas Edison, who famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." His persistence and willingness to embrace failure led to one of the greatest inventions of all time, the light bulb. Imagine if he had let fear stop him. Now let's address another form of fear, the fear of judgment. This is a big one. So many of us hold back because we're afraid of what others might think. But here's the hard truth. People are going to have opinions no matter what you do. You can't control how others perceive you, but you can control how you respond. The people who matter, the ones who truly care about you, will support you. And as for the rest, their opinions aren't your responsibility. To help you overcome the fear of judgment, remember this: most people are too focused on their own lives to spend much time thinking about yours. It's a liberating realization. Once you stop living for the approval of others, you'll feel a sense of freedom that's indescribable. Now, let's pause for a moment. Take a deep breath. Think about one fear that's been holding you back. Imagine what your life could look like if that fear no longer controlled you. Picture yourself taking action, succeeding, and growing. How does it feel? Hold on to that feeling. That's the energy you need to move forward. Before we move on, here's a simple affirmation for you. I am stronger than my fears. I have the power to take bold actions and create the life I desire. Say it to yourself, out loud if you can. Let it sink in. In the next part, we'll explore how to build unshakable confidence and create habits that support your transformation. Remember, fear is just one piece of the puzzle. You're already on the path to becoming unstoppable. Stay with me, you won't want to miss what's next. Confidence. It's one of the most sought-after traits in the world, yet for so many, it feels just out of reach. But here's the truth. Confidence isn't something you're born with, or something reserved for the lucky few. It's a skill, and like any skill, it can be learned, practiced, and mastered. Let's start with a simple but powerful idea. Confidence is built through action. It's not about waiting to feel ready or secure. It's about doing the thing that scares you and proving to yourself that you can handle it. Every time you step out of your comfort zone, you're giving yourself evidence that you're capable. And that evidence becomes the foundation of true confidence. Think of confidence like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. But just like building physical strength, it requires consistent effort. You wouldn't expect to lift heavy weights on your first day at the gym, right? The same applies to confidence. Start small. Focus on achievable challenges that stretch you just enough to grow. Take Sam, for example. Sam always struggled with self-doubt, especially in social situations. He avoided networking events and speaking up in meetings, convinced he wasn't good at connecting with others. But one day, he decided to make a change. He set a simple goal: introduce himself to one new person every week. At first, it was nerve-wracking, but over time, it became easier. As he collected small wins, his confidence grew. Today, Sam is known for his charisma and ability to connect with anyone, all because he decided to take that first step. Sam's story highlights an important principle. Confidence comes from competence. When you improve your skills and knowledge in any area, you naturally feel more confident. So, if there's something you're struggling with, whether it's public speaking, managing your time, or learning a new hobby, invest in developing your abilities. Take a class, read a book, or practice regularly. Growth leads to confidence. But here's the thing. Confidence isn't just about what you do, it's also about how you think. Your self-talk, the way you speak to yourself, has a massive impact on your confidence levels. Negative self-talk like, "I'm not good enough," or "I always mess things up," chips away at your self-esteem. Positive self-talk, on the other hand, builds you up. Let's try a quick exercise. Think about something you've been doubting yourself about recently. Now, write down the negative thought you've been telling yourself. Got it? Great! Now, reframe that thought into something empowering. For example, if your thought was, "I'm terrible at this," reframe it as, "I'm learning and I'm getting better every day." This practice may feel awkward at first, but over time, it rewires your brain to think more positively. Body language is another critical aspect of confidence. The way you carry yourself sends signals not just to others, but to your own brain. When you stand tall, make eye contact, and smile, you're telling your brain, "I've got this." Research even shows that adopting power poses, like standing with your hands on your hips and your chest out, can boost your confidence hormones and reduce stress. Here's a simple challenge for you. The next time you're feeling unsure, take a moment to adjust your posture. Stand or sit up straight, take a deep breath, and smile. It's a small change, but it can have a big impact on how you feel. Now, let's talk about the fear of failure, which often undermines confidence. Failure is inevitable, it's part of life. But what if you stopped seeing failure as something to avoid and started seeing it as something to embrace? Every successful person has faced failure. The difference is that they didn't let it stop them. They learned from it, adapted, and kept moving forward. Here's a practical tip: reframe failure as feedback. Instead of saying, "I failed," say, "I learned something valuable." This mindset shift turns every setback into an opportunity for growth. It's not about ignoring the disappointment. It's about choosing to focus on what you can gain from the experience. Another key to building confidence is surrounding yourself with the right people. The energy of those around you has a significant influence on your mindset. Spend time with people who uplift, inspire, and challenge you to be your best. These are the individuals who will celebrate your successes, support you through challenges, and remind you of your potential when you forget. At the same time, it's important to protect yourself from toxic influences, people who constantly criticize, belittle, or drain your energy. Confidence flourishes in an environment of positivity and support. If you're surrounded by negativity, it's time to set boundaries and prioritize relationships that nurture your growth. Let's not forget about gratitude. It might not seem directly related to confidence, but it's incredibly powerful. When you focus on what you're grateful for, you shift your attention away from self-doubt and toward abundance. Gratitude reminds you of your strengths, your progress, and the things that are going well in your life. Take a few minutes each day to write down 3 things you're grateful for. Over time, this simple practice can transform your mindset. Before we move forward, let's recap a few key points. Confidence is built through action. Start small and celebrate your wins. Competence fuels confidence. Invest in learning and growth. Positive self-talk and body language can shift how you feel instantly. Reframe failure as feedback and embrace it as part of your journey. Surround yourself with supportive, uplifting people. As we move into the next part, we'll dive into creating habits and systems that support lasting transformation. Confidence is just one piece of the puzzle. The next step is building a foundation that ensures your growth is sustainable and aligned with your goals. Stay with me. This journey is far from over. You're on the path to becoming your best self, and it only gets better from here. Habits. They're the invisible force shaping your life every single day. What you repeatedly do, your daily routines and actions, determines the outcomes you experience over time. But here's the good news. Habits are not fixed. You can consciously design habits that support your growth, build momentum, and align with your goals. And when you do, the results can be life-changing. Let's start with a simple question. What does your ideal day look like? Picture it in detail. What time do you wake up? What are the first things you do? How do you spend your energy throughout the day? Now compare that to your current reality. Are your habits leading you closer to that ideal day? Or are they holding you back? This isn't about perfection. It's about intentionality. The habits you build today are the foundation for the future you want. But building new habits and breaking old ones requires a plan. Let's break it down into actionable steps. The first step in habit creation is identifying your why. Why does this habit matter to you? The stronger your reason, the more likely you are to stick with it. For example, if you want to start exercising, your why might be improving your health, boosting your energy, or setting an example for your family. Write it down. Keep it somewhere visible. Your why will keep you motivated when things get tough. Next, start small. One of the biggest mistakes people make when trying to build new habits is aiming too high, too soon. They decide to work out for an hour every day, meditate for 30 minutes, or write a book in a month. While these are great goals, they can feel overwhelming, especially at the start. Instead, focus on tiny, manageable actions. Want to start journaling? Write one sentence a day. Want to drink more water? Start with one extra glass. Small steps lead to big changes over time. Let's look at James, a young professional who wanted to read more books, but could never seem to find the time. Instead of trying to read a whole chapter every night, he started with just one page. That's it. One page before bed. It felt so simple that it was almost impossible to fail. Over time, reading became a habit, and one page turned into 5, then 10, then an entire chapter. Today, James reads more books in a month than he used to read in a year, all because he started small. Once you've chosen your small, actionable step, the next key is consistency. Habits are built through repetition. The more consistently you perform a habit, the stronger it becomes. Think of it like carving a path through a forest. The first time you walk the path, it's overgrown and difficult to navigate. But the more you walk it, the clearer and easier it becomes. That's what happens in your brain as you repeat a habit. It creates a mental pathway that gets stronger with use. To make consistency easier, attach your new habit to an existing routine. This is known as habit stacking, and it's incredibly effective. For example, if you want to start meditating, you could do it right after brushing your teeth in the morning. If you want to practice gratitude, write down 3 things you're thankful for before your first cup of coffee. Pairing new habits with routines you already do makes them feel natural and automatic. Now, let's talk about tracking your progress. Monitoring your habits helps you stay accountable and gives you a sense of accomplishment. You can use a simple checklist, a habit tracking app, or even a jar where you drop a coin every time you complete your habit. Tracking isn't just about measuring success. It's a reminder of the progress you're making, no matter how small it might feel. Of course, setbacks happen. Life gets busy, motivation dips, and sometimes we miss a day or several days. But here's the thing, missing one day doesn't mean you've failed. What matters is how quickly you get back on track. Instead of beating yourself up, remind yourself that progress is more important than perfection. The goal is not to be flawless, it's to be consistent over time. Let's not forget about breaking bad habits. Just as you can build positive habits, you can unlearn negative ones. The first step is to identify the triggers, the situations, emotions, or environments that lead to the habit. For example, if you tend to snack mindlessly while watching TV, the trigger might be boredom or the simple act of sitting on a couch. Once you've identified the trigger, replace the habit with a healthier alternative. Instead of snacking, you might keep your hands busy with a puzzle or knitting. Instead of scrolling on your phone before bed, replace it with reading or listening to calming music. The goal is not just to eliminate the habit, but to fill the void it leaves behind with something positive. Finally, celebrate your wins, no matter how small they might seem. Every time you follow through on a habit, you're reinforcing your new identity. You're no longer someone who wants to meditate. You're someone who meditates. You're no longer someone who wishes they were fit. You're someone who works out regularly. Acknowledge and reward yourself for the effort you're putting in. Before we move to the next part, here are some quick reminders about building and breaking habits. Start small. Focus on actions that feel easy and achievable. Be consistent. Repetition is the key to creating lasting habits. Use habit stacking to integrate new habits into your daily routine. Track your progress to stay accountable and motivated. Replace bad habits with healthier alternatives, not just elimination. Celebrate your wins and recognize the progress you're making. In the next section, we'll dive into the deeper emotional and spiritual aspects of transformation. Habits are powerful, but they're just one piece of the puzzle. To create lasting change, we'll explore how to align your mind, heart, and spirit. Stay with me. You're building something extraordinary. Let's keep going. Transformation is more than action and habits. It's a profound alignment of your mind, heart, and spirit. It's about stepping into your true self and living a life that feels authentic, meaningful, and deeply connected. In this final part, we'll explore how to tap into your emotional and spiritual strength to solidify your transformation and carry it forward. Let's begin with the mind. Your thoughts are the seeds of your reality, and what you cultivate in your mind shapes your life. But transformation requires more than just positive thinking. It requires mindfulness. Mindfulness is the practice of being fully present, aware of your thoughts without judgment. It's about observing your inner world with curiosity and compassion. Here's a simple practice to build mindfulness. Set aside 5 minutes each day to sit quietly and focus on your breath. When your mind wanders, and it will gently bring your focus back to your breathing. This practice teaches you to become aware of your thoughts without getting lost in them. Over time, mindfulness helps you respond to life with intention rather than reacting out of habit. Next, let's turn to the heart, the emotional core of your transformation. Your emotions are powerful guides, but they can also be overwhelming if not understood. One key to emotional strength is learning to process your emotions rather than suppressing them. When you feel anger, sadness, or fear, allow yourself to experience it fully. Name the emotion, acknowledge its presence, and let it move through you. Emotions are like waves. They rise, peak, and eventually subside. When you allow this natural process, you free yourself from emotional stagnation. Forgiveness is another critical aspect of emotional transformation. Holding on to resentment or guilt keeps you tethered to the past. Forgiveness doesn't mean condoning harmful actions. It means releasing their hold on you. Start by forgiving yourself. Acknowledge your mistakes and imperfections with kindness. Then, extend that same grace to others, not for their sake, but for your own peace. Now let's bring it all together with the spirit, the part of you that connects to something greater than yourself. For some, this might be faith in God or a higher power. For others, it's a sense of oneness with the universe, nature, or humanity. Whatever your belief, nurturing your spirit is essential for lasting transformation. One way to do this is through reflection. Take time to ask yourself deeper questions. What gives my life meaning? What do I value most? How can I serve others in a way that feels true to me? These questions help you align your actions with your values, creating a sense of purpose that sustains you even in challenging times. Gratitude is another spiritual practice that amplifies your transformation. Gratitude shifts your focus from what's lacking to what's abundant. It reminds you of the blessings in your life and strengthens your connection to the present moment. Each day, write down 3 things you're grateful for, no matter how small. Over time, you'll find that gratitude changes the way you see the world. Finally, let's talk about vision. Transformation is not just about who you are today, it's about who you're becoming. Take a moment to visualize your ideal self. What does your life look like? How do you feel? What impact are you making? Hold this vision in your mind as a guiding light, reminder of what you're working toward. But remember, transformation is not a destination, it's a journey. It's about progress, not perfection. There will be days when you feel unstoppable and days when you struggle. Both are part of the process. Be patient with yourself and trust that every step forward, no matter how small, is meaningful. As we close this journey together, I want to leave you with one final thought. You are capable of extraordinary growth. Everything you need to transform your life is already within you. The courage to face your fears, the strength to build new habits, the wisdom to align with your purpose, it's all there waiting for you to tap into it. Take this moment to reflect on how far you've come. The fact that you're here, engaging with this content, is proof of your commitment to yourself. Celebrate that. You've taken the first steps toward creating a life that feels authentic, fulfilling, and uniquely yours. Now it's your turn. Go forward and take action. Face your fears, build habits that empower you, and align your life with your deepest values. The world needs what only you can bring. Your story is still being written, and the best chapters are yet to come. Thank you for being here, for showing up, and for believing in your own potential. Your journey doesn't end here, it's just beginning. So, step boldly into your future. You've got this. Thank you for being part of this journey today. Your growth, your transformation, it's just beginning, and I'm so excited to see where it takes you. If this video connected with you, there's so much more to explore. Don't stop here. Stay with us and check out our previous video, Chosen Ones, the surprising way anxiety turns you into a legend. It's packed with insights that will help you understand how your struggles can be the very thing that propels you toward greatness. If you found value in this content, don't forget to give it a like. It really helps us reach more people who need this message. And we'd love to hear from you in the comments. What part of today's video spoke to you the most? Let us know. We're here to connect and grow with you. Finally, if you think someone in your life could benefit from this message, share the video with them. Together, we can inspire and empower each other to live our best lives. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.